So, um, thank you guys for coming in. Um, yeah, this past week, 2 weeks have been really good for college football. The playoffs have just kicked off, and we have a couple games to look at, and then also um, the NFL week 17 just passed, and then week 18 is coming in. So yeah, we have a lot to talk about. Um, as you can see on the title, we're going to talk about the college football playoffs first, um, where we're at the semifinals right now, and it's going to be Notre Dame, Penn State, and then Ohio State, Texas. So yeah, let's get to it. Let's get to it. Um, Let's go with Texas, Arizona State first because it's the first on my list right here. And I watched this game, and man, it was close. Uh, when I first started watching it, Arizona State I think was down. It was before it was. I think it was 17-8 at the time, and Texas was driving it down to score their 24 points. And I was like, "Oh gosh." Like, this is another one of those blowouts of the college football playoffs, and everyone's going to get all up in a tizzy about it. "Oh, you should have put more SEC teams in, blah blah blah." But no, Arizona State came roaring back because of Scadaboo, and almost won the thing. A lot of people are talking about the um, missed targeting call, and it was a targeting call that should have been called. And Texas fans are like, "But what about the other one that was not called targeting?" And I also saw that one too. And though it was close, I think I agree with the officials and the head official on the call and the commentators on that one. It was more to the chest and shoulder area from the replay I saw, and rather than the head neck area. And for all the other people saying it's not with the crown, it, if the receiver is defenseless, it doesn't matter if it's with the crown. It's forcible contact to the head neck area. So that's why the one against Texas didn't count, and then the one against Arizona State did. It's really, I think, a lot of it. Um, I don't know, man. It's one of those fouls where you're just like, well, this is the letter of the law, but are we gonna really do it to? And it's just like, yeah, you should because it's protecting the players, and you say you want to protect the players, so what are you doing? you know. Um but Arizona State had a lot of other chances to win that game. They just couldn't pull it out. So great job to Texas. They played a great game. Well, great first half and then great overtime. So yeah. Um Ohio State, Oregon. This game was over by the middle of the first quarter. Um, like Ohio State really jumped on them early. It was 17-0 before you can before you can think, and then Oregon came down. I think it was still 17-0, and they were in the red zone. They had a fourth down, and there was a decision of whether to take the points or to go for the touchdown. Now, at the time, I was like, go for the points, get the field goal, and then just get some points on the board so that you can build on it and not give the other team any more momentum. But they went for it and didn't get it. So, and then it was 24 to nothing, then it was 31 to nothing, then it was 34 to nothing. And it was just the game got out of hand and fast. So, um Ohio State won 41 to 21. Yeah. Um Notre Dame, Georgia. I didn't really watch this one. I had a feeling Georgia was gonna get blasted because they don't have their starting quarterback. Imagine that. The argument for FSU. But yeah, Notre Dame really put it on them. Um, yeah, and so it it really wasn't a game because when I checked back on it, it was 20-3, and I was like, that's not good. And the other uh, quarterfinal game was Penn State, Boise State. Now, this was a lot closer than I think the score really shows because Boise State was down 24-14 before like 3 minutes left in the fourth. Um, but it still wasn't really close. It's just closer than the score says. Um, Penn State really bottled up Genty, even though Genty got over, I think he still got over 100 yards. But yeah, 30 carries, 104. So he got over 100 yards just barely. And Penn State really bottled him up. There wasn't really any breakout runs that Genty did except for one in the fourth, I think, that I saw. But yeah, Penn State really controlled this game from beginning to end. And yeah, so next time, Ohio State, Texas. Man, I think Ohio State's gonna win this one. Um, I think that Texas, like the game they played against Arizona State, really put things into perspective. Of that, Texas is really a first half team, and I know that the commentators were like, "Hey, they just play with their food. They let teams get back into it." And I don't know about that. I mean, a lot of the time, like even in the SEC championship game, they were doing really well. I'm gonna say really well, but they were winning in the first half against Georgia, and I think it was like through the first three quarters they were just winning, and it was just like, oh, they're probably gonna win. It's not. It's not one of those things where you're just like, um, you're gonna be like, oh, hey, it's yeah. So, and they lost 22-19. Yeah, through the third, they were no, they were down. Hmm. Anyways, like they were just doing better than people thought they were. That's what I'm gonna say. They were doing better than they did last time, and they were keeping the game close, and it just got away from them at the end. And like the last drive, like when they had to kick a field goal and then the other team got the chance to score the touchdown, it was just like that's one of those things where you're just like that that just happens to Texas. So I think that Ohio State's going to beat Texas. Um, Other than that, Notre Dame, Penn State. As I'm a USC fan, I'm hoping for Penn State to win. Though I dislike Penn State, I do not like Penn State, but I don't like Notre Dame even more. You know, so but gosh, I'm just hoping big game James Franklin doesn't up. And I know Penn State fans are like, "Oh, that's not a thing. Big game." It is a thing. Like he hasn't won many big games since he's become coach of the Penn State Nittany Lions because, because he hasn't been to many big games. And when he has, he's lost. He's lost against Michigan and he's lost against Ohio State. And those are big games because those two are usually at the top of the conference. So, and then the Big Ten championship, they lost. So, hopefully, big game James Franklin doesn't show up, and hopefully, you take down the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Like, but other than that, we can go to the USC Texas A&M game, which I did watch, and that was um, USC wins 35-31. USC came back from a 17-point deficit, and when it was 24-7, I was thinking, "Oh boy!" It was 5 minutes left in the third, and I was like, "Oh no, this might be over. This might be it." And then we rattled off three straight touchdowns, and then I was like, "Okay, we might have a shot at this." We let up a touchdown, and then Jaden Mayava, sorry, Jaden Mayava um, scored a last second touchdown, um, like like we did against LSU. The two SEC teams that we've played, we've beaten in the last second, and that's hilarious to me. That's just funny to me because it's just like, oh boy, it came to the gun. Um, but yeah, it's just that game was really like I think a lot of the problems that we've had this year showed up in this game. Um, like play calling and quarterback play, and sometimes the defense just lets up a last minute touchdown, and you're just like, and I'm not saying that Jane Mayava is bad because that wouldn't be fair to him because he's played a lot better the 3, 4 starts that he's had. But um yeah, it's one of those things where you're just like, and I've seen a lot of USC fans like, if we had only started Mayava from the first week, and I'm like, no, no, we shouldn't have, because yes, he's doing well, but he wouldn't have beaten LSU. He wouldn't have he wouldn't have won any of the like I don't think he's would have won he may have won a couple of those games, but not all of them. And we still would have been what? Maybe I think we would have had the same, if not a worse record if we had started Mayava from the start. And it's just like this year has just been weird because it like 2 3 games this year he's Maeva has thrown like against Notre Dame he threw 3 picks I think. Against Texas A&M he threw 3 picks and his first game his first game against Nebraska he threw a pick six, but also a couple of almost picks where they could have picked it. Yeah, pick worthy plays. And it was just like, my goodness. Yes, he has a great arm, big arm, but he makes his decision making needs improvement. Like it does. And against UCLA, we won that game, but also it was one of those games where you're just like, gosh, like we almost lost that game. We almost lost to UCLA, who's not good this year. And I think that for Mayava going on, he needs to fix his decision making. And then also, like, I think that um, I was talking about this with my brother, and he was like, he's not reading the defense really well. It may not have been him. I can't remember who said it, but he's not reading the defense really well, and I think that that has a lot to do with his decision making ability. So maybe one off season with Lincoln, and I also heard that he's linked to transferring to Miami, which best of luck to him. Um, but yeah, uh, this year has been really up and down. It has been a roller coaster for USC fans, and I think that our record 6-6, now 7-6, is really apropos for the kind of year we had. Because yes, we lost some games to backbreaking interceptions by Miller Moss, but we also lost some games by backbreaking like long runs from the defense, like or long drives, long sustained drives that we couldn't get off the field. And so, though our defense is much improved from last year, it still has room to improve next year, and I think we will. We'll get more talent on that side because, oh gosh, Grinch really sucked the life out of that defense, and we'll get more talent. We'll get more like homegrown talent, and then we're getting a lot of players back on the defense, so that's good. That's good. And so, yes, though this year has been 7-6 worthy, and we've had a lot of unluckiness, if you can say that, go the other way. But hey, I still have hope for next year. Hoping that we some it's just like the Vikings of 2022 and 2023, where or 2021 and 2022, where 2021 before O'Connell got there, they lost a lot of their games by one score. Like they almost won those games, but a lot of them bounced the other way. And then the next year, they get some new coaching, they get some new players, and they bounce the other way. And they went, I forget, like 12-4, I think, or like I think it was like 12-5, whatever record they have in 2020 had in 2022. And then yeah, so I think next year we'll have a lot of those games go our way, hopefully, and then we'll get a better record because a lot of those times it just didn't go our way. Like I know USC fans are like, we should have won not at least 9 games, 10 games. And I'm like, yeah, but just a lot of those games just didn't go our way. Like penalties and then like fumbles, interceptions just didn't go our way. And then next year, perhaps maybe even half of those games we win. And then that would be 9-3 or 10-2. So I think that a lot of those games that we could have won this year or should have won, we'll go our way next year. Next, next on the docket is NFL Week 17. It was a big, it was a big week for the NFL where a lot of teams got eliminated, and yeah, so Week 17, I'm gonna go down and Steelers Chiefs. I've watched some of this game, and man, the Chiefs really dominated this game from beginning to end. Um, I don't think the Steelers really had a chance in this game. Uh, the Steelers had a chance in this game, um, and the Chiefs just dominated, and they locked up the number 1 seed, and and they're resting their starters this week, and it's going to be 2 weeks of rest, and yeah, the Chiefs are on their way to another AFC Championship game. um, the other Christmas game, Ravens Texans. This wasn't even close um, at any time. Um, the Texans were, I think it was 10-2 at one point. I think that was the closest they ever got to winning the game. Um, Ravens just terrorized CJ Stroud all day. And um, man, I was talking about this earlier, but CJ Stroud just needs to get back in into the lab and just look at his tape. And I think Jordan Palmer said it best. See what see what you're doing well and keep doing that. And then see what you can improve on, something that you may have done better last year and not doing so well this year and improve on that. And then just pick one or two things where you know you can improve and you know that you can get better in. Like straight up, like you weren't doing better last year, but you're improving this year, and then just keep on improving. Um, so yeah, rooting for CJ Stroud in the playoffs, rooting for the Ravens in the playoffs. Hopefully that they can get a playoff win. Seahawks Bears. This one was a snooze. Um, Seahawks win by default because they scored 2 field goals, and yeah, the Bears need to find a guy who can bring out the best in Caleb. So maybe Ben Johnson. I don't know. Maybe Vrabel with Joe Brady. Like maybe he can poach Joe Brady from the Bills. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Um, Chargers Patriots. Um, yeah, Drake May got hurt in the beginning of this game and really lost all the momentum in this game. I didn't think they were going to win either way, and I don't think they would have won either way, but it might have kept the game a little bit closer. I have no idea. But the Chargers just sped past the Patriots and got a playoff spot. Broncos Bengals. This game was really close, and just some time shenanigans at the end, and then just yeah, got it to overtime, and then Bengals win in overtime. Rams Cardinals. Ugh, this game, I just don't know what to say anymore. Like our team, well, my team, the Cardinals, we just we need to find a way to win these games because the Cardinals the past couple weeks have been in these games. Like they they have been in position to win most of these games. Like against the Vikings, they had a chance to win. Against the Panthers, they had a chance to win. Against the Rams, they had a chance to win. And it was just like just blew it. And I don't know what to say. Um, the Rams game came down to a fastball at Trey McBride's head that just popped up, and that was just it. That was just it. So yeah, I don't know what we do for next year. Just get more players, I guess. Um, yeah, because we can't keep having these nine scoring 9 points in a game because no matter how good your defense is playing, scoring 9 points usually doesn't lead to winning. And I say usually because the Seahawks just won 6-3. Jets Bills. This game was never close. I think the Bills are one of the best teams in the AFC right now, and I think they and the Ravens have the best chance of knocking the Chiefs off. I know people are like, it last year was the year to knock off the Chiefs, and the Bills couldn't do it. Every year is another opportunity, and I think that the Bills have another opportunity, and they always have one of the best chance of knocking off the Chiefs. Like even last year, it came right down to the wire, and either because Josh Allen got too greedy or their field goal kicker Tyler Bass became the next iteration of their wide left curse. We'll never know. We'll never know, but they came that close. They're always that close to winning that game. And so one of these times, man, one of these times the Bills are going to do it. Um, Jaguars, Titans. Didn't watch this game. Don't even want to know what happened in this game. Um, yeah, Mac Jones beats Mason Rudolph in Battle of the Tank Bowl. Um, Buccaneers, Panthers. This game was, I don't think it was ever close. Yeah, it was 27-7 in the second quarter. Um, Even though the Carolina Panthers are much improved from earlier in the year, and Bryce Young is much improved. He was 15 for 28, 203 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did really well, but Baker Mayfield just did better this game, and the score shows that. Um, Raiders Saints. Raiders just screwing up their draft stock. Eagles Cowboys. Um, didn't really think that this would be anything else. Cowboys haven't been good this year. Hopefully they can turn it around next year, but man, they haven't been good this year. Um, and I said this a couple days ago, but for Saquon and the rushing title, I I I was like, I want Eric Dickerson to keep the record, but I also want Saquon to have a chance to break it. Like last week, he had to get over 200 yards, almost 300 rushing yards to break it, and it was like that's not going to happen, um, especially in an NFL game. So it was going to come down to week 17, week 18, and he's not going to get the chance. So I think he should have at least had the chance to break the title. Um, Giants Colts. Giants screwing up their draft stop again, and hey, it's one of those things where Colts lose in the last week to miss the playoffs, and Giants win in the last week to screw up their draft stock. Um, Dolphins Browns. Dolphins win 20-0. It wasn't really close. Vikings Packers. Now this was a good game. I know the score says it was really close, but for most of the game, the Vikings were truly dominating the game. And then in the fourth quarter, the Packers just came storming back. It was a They were up 17 in the fourth quarter, and then Green Bay just came down the field, scored a touchdown, scored a 2-point conversion, and then scored another touchdown and kicked the field goal and had a chance to get the ball back. But the Vikings and Sam Darnold um, moved past them and, yeah, won the game. Commanders Falcons, again, more end of game time shenanigans. Um, with the Falcons and the Commanders. I thought the Falcons were going to win. Like when they first kicked the field goal, I was kind of far away, and I was looking, and it was like, oh, that looks like it's going to go down the middle. So I was like, oh yeah, the Falcons win. But I didn't know it went short, so I was like, turned away. And then a couple minutes later, I go back, and I was like, the game's still on. Wait. It was short. So the Commanders went down the field in overtime and won the game. Um, Lions 49ers. Man, the 49ers had a chance to win this game. Um, they had the lead. They had the initiative, and I think going into halftime, I don't know when it was. Yeah, they were up 21-13 at halftime. And then the third quarter, the Lions scored a touchdown to tie it up. They got the ball first, so they scored a touchdown to tie it up in the 2-point conversion. And and then the 49ers scored, then scored a touchdown, then the Lions scored a field goal, and then Purdy threw the first of his 2 picks. And then I think that was when it was when it was out of hand, um, and then the Lions scored another touchdown, so it was 31-28. Brock Purdy drives them down the field to tie the game, so they were gonna kick a field goal, and Moody just missed it. Then and then the Lions just took advantage and scored a touchdown. And yeah, so man, the 49ers had a chance to win this game. It was just a couple of picks, couple of bad breaks, and they lost. So yeah, I just think that um, this was a game that the 49ers, like, they were playing with house money. They were absolutely had nothing to lose. They're already out of the playoffs, and they just couldn't do it. Um, yeah, it was just one of those things where you're just like, "Mm." um, yeah, just bad break for the 49ers altogether. And as a Cardinals fan, I'm like, but I like Brock Purdy. I hope he gets back on his feet next year, so we can beat you again, beat you, beat you to knock you out of the playoffs again. um, for next week, the NFL slate of games is I'm gonna do my predictions and all that. Um, Browns Ravens. I think the Ravens are gonna win this one. I know the Browns have had these weird games where they would beat the Ravens, and it's like what? But I think the Ravens are gonna win this one. Bengals Steelers. The Bengals have everything to play for, and the Steelers have nothing to play for. I think the Bengals are just gonna win this one. Though the Steelers might just kick the snot out of the Bengals offensive line with their defensive line and win it. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Texans, Titans, Texans. Even though the Texans are kind of spiraling right now, I think this could be a good get right game right before the playoffs. I know I've said that a couple times where oh it's a get right game for CJ Stroud, but I think this is another get right game. Um, Panthers Falcons. Um, gosh, Falcons because they no longer have. Well, Penix is starting, so I think it'll be a closer game than people will think. But I think Penix is just has the better team right now, and yeah, the Panthers team isn't really that good. But their new head coach has brought good out of Bryce Young, so I think they'll continue on with him next year. Saints Buccaneers. Buccaneers. I'm not really sweating this. The Saints have been dead for oh gosh, 15 weeks. Ever since they started 2-0. Yeah, they have been dead for a while now, and the Buccaneers just have one more team to step over to the playoffs. Um, Bills, Patriots, Bills. The last game was a trap game, but this game, I think they'll just win. Um, yeah, I think they're locked into the 2 seed, so they might rest their starters, and if they do, then it's Patriot. Like, I think the Patriots will win, but I think Bills. Like if they don't rest their starters, it's Bills. It's always been Bills. Like even if it was a trap game, like last time, it's going to be Bills because Bills are just better in every way. Josh Allen is just better. Their defense is just better, their coach is just better, their offense is just better. They're just better. Um, Jaguars, Colts, does it really matter? But I think the Colts are gonna pull this one out. I don't know why they sat Richardson last week, but I think it was because he was a little bit hurt. But I think the Colts are gonna win this one. Jaguars have been dead ever since Trevor Lawrence got hurt. Um, Commanders, Cowboys. I think the Cowboys won last time, and I don't think the Cowboys will sweep the Commanders. So I think the Commanders are going to win, but there's always a chance. There's always a chance for the sweep. And if Dallas sweeps the Commanders and Green Bay wins, Green Bay will get that sixth seed, and Commanders will be seventh seed. But if the Commanders win, like I think they will, Packers seventh seed, Commanders sixth seed. Whoever loses the the Lions Vikings game will be fifth seed, which is hilarious. Um, Giants Eagles. I think the Eagles, even with their backups, even with yeah, the Giants are just a dumpster fire right now. Um, Bears Packers. They still are playing for seeding. I think they want the sixth seed, not the seventh seed. So if they win and the Commanders lose, they'll get that sixth seed. And the Bears are just bad. Even with Caleb Williams, they're just bad. Seahawks, Rams. I think the Rams are just better than the Seahawks right now. I think the Seahawks go 9-8 again, but they have a bright future. I think they'll get better in years to come, but this year it's not it doesn't look good. Dolphins, Jets. I think the Dolphins are just gonna win it. Um, yeah, I think the Dolphins are just gonna win it. Um, and that will kick the Bengals out of the playoffs officially. And yeah, unfortunately for Joe Burrow. Um, Chiefs, Broncos. I think the Broncos are going to win this, especially since the starters are being rested for the Chiefs. Um, yeah, because the Broncos almost won last time with the Chiefs starters, and I think that Chiefs are just better in every way than the Broncos, but with the Chiefs backups coming in, and then um, yeah, with the starters resting, the Broncos might just win this, and I think they will. I think they will. Um, Raiders, Chargers. The Raiders are just bad. Um, I know they won last time, but the Raiders are just bad. 49ers, Cardinals. This game really, I have no idea. Um, but I'm gonna go with the Cardinals, my team, and hopefully we'll win. Hopefully we'll win, but I don't know, man. Um, and then last game of Sunday night is Lions Vikings, which I'm gonna choose the Vikings. I think that the Lions defense is like really banged up, and I know Lions fans are tired of people talking about their defense being banged up, but it's really important. It's really important, and I know you guys have been winning without your defense, but like you're gonna need to score a lot more than 31 this game. And I don't know if you can do it, especially with Brian Flores' defense. And they have better personnel. I know people are like, "Oh, the Lions have taken it to them the past couple year," and sure, but I think that this game is just too much, and I think that, but the Lions have more than a case to win. Like I think they might win, but I think that it's more than likely that the Vikings will win. I think it's like 60-40 that the Vikings will win. And so, yeah, I'm gonna choose the Vikings for that game. And so, yeah, those are my picks. And I've been talking for 45 minutes. Jeez. But thank you all for watching. See y'all next Wednesday, I think. Um, and yeah, and I'll talk about the bracket and stuff like that, and who I think will win the wild card games, who I think will go to the Super Bowl. So yeah, see you guys. See you guys then. Bye.